Hey y'all, this is my first video on The Simpsons, but it's one of my favorite episodes. Um, for those who've not seen it, it's the episode Marge Be Not Proud. Um, it's a season 6 episode, I believe. I don't know what number it is, but it's either a season 6 or season 7 episode. I encourage you to go watch it. It's fantastic. A lot of Simpsons fans consider it to be the best Christmas episode they've done, and I'd be hard pressed to disagree. But I wanted to talk about it because it's been on my mind, and I try to watch it. I watched it a couple times this Christmas. So a common a theme with this episode, and they even downright say it in the episode. I mean, I don't think it's what it was going for per se, but that's the word the other people say it's about. Bart asks Millhouse in the episode, do you ever wonder what'll happen if your mom stops loving you? And that's pretty much the premise. I'm gonna go through the 5 main parts of the episode. Basically, Bart wants a video game, a very violent video game, and we've all been there. I mean, we've all been there where we want a video game, a certain video game more than anything. It's all we can think about. Everything the kids, everything the kids want. We think anyway. Though Bart wants his game, and he asks his parents in a very colorful way if they can get the game for him. And Marge says, sorry, but those games cost up to and including $70. So basically, no, we're not getting you that game. And more onto the point, watching it again, I'm like, Bob, why didn't you just ask Santa for the game? I mean, he probably would have gotten it for you. Why didn't you ask him for the game? But that neither here nor there. It wouldn't have filled with the message they were trying to get across with the episode anyway. I understand that. So he wants this game, and originally his plan, and I like this plan, originally his plan is to go to the store, and maybe if he stands by the games looking sad, someone will feel sorry for him and buy him one. I love that idea. I mean, I've done that myself a time or two. I mean, it didn't work for me, but it maybe will work for Bart. So originally that's his plan, and he's gonna go in there and do that. But he runs into his boys. He runs into the goal tough guys, if you will, and they say, hey, we 5-finger discount or 4-finger discount because they have 4 fingers. Basically, they're saying they stole the stuff they had. I don't know why, but basically they say they stole the stuff they had to him, and he gets that in his mind. And this is where the next section of the episode takes off. Predictably, Boss steals the video game, and originally it looked like he's gonna get away with it, but I mean the store's not some theater, so they have security cameras, and originally outside, and and he says, I did it, I got away with it, I'm free. And watching that back on a rewatch, I bought Run, because the next thing that happened is the security guard catches him. He sees him on the tape, and that's some security guard. Don Broad gets his name, so that's not very surprising. But, so he catches him. He leaves a message with his parents. He leaves a message with Marge and Homewood. And he leaves a message with Marge and Homewood, and he had the conversation, but there's no one there. He filled in the empty space with what he thinks they would say, and he's probably right. But that was funny to me. And of course, Bart rushes home. Bart changes the answering machine tape. He actually does get away with this for a while. He changes the answering machine tape, and the episode made you think that he didn't get away with it because there's a message on the answer machine, and Homer says, well, we didn't have a message when we left. How very odd. And then he plays it, and it's ask for Camp Granada, which I never got. I'm not that old. So, originally he gets away with it for a time. Oh, I forgot to mention something. The security guard, when he's going out of his office from being talked to, he says, hey, don't come to my door again, or you'll be spending Christmas in juvenile hall. So, they go for pictures. They go for Christmas photos, like you do. And originally he's happy about it because he thinks he's gotten away with it. And he says, Marge, he says, Marge, I'm in a fine mood today. Caught me in a good mood. But the bomb drops there. Marge says, then go up and get dressed, and in a few minutes we'll be at the try and save. You know, the place that the security guard told Bart he couldn't go to anymore, or else he'd be spending Christmas in juvenile hall, that try and save. So, they go to the try and save. And originally it looked like Bart's gonna get away with it again, because he rushes everything and rushes the picture because he's nervous of the security guard seeing him, everything. But they take the picture, and as they're taking the picture, the security guard grabs them, and not to hurt him or anything, but just grabbing him like gonna throw him out the door, gonna give him talking to. Marge and Homer understand to be upset because they don't know what he's done. They say, hey, what are you doing to him? Marge defends him, a special little guy. Marge defends him, saying, hey, my son may not be perfect, but I know in my heart he's not a Soviet. And then they go to pay the security tape, and Bart, you can call this whatever you want, maybe a little bit of bravery, but he was gonna get found out anyway. They pay the security tape for everyone, and while it's being looked at on the tape, it's being revealed on the tape that Bart stolen this game. Bart confesses his mom to everyone, really, and says he did it. He stole the game. And the next scene, Homewood doesn't really have a lot to do in this episode. The next scene, Homewood gives him a little bit for talking to. It's a very funny, it's a very funny Homewood talking to, where he says, Dylan, haven't you done anything for that guy who gives out summons and judge every week? Captain what's his name? That, that comes into plays on the later episode or in the earlier episode. That's payoff, a payoff Homer's original name, which was Captain Wacky, later renamed Homer. That's, so that was just funny to me. That's a good callback. Then, he basically uses the train of thought, uses what he was talking about, and he's kind of relevant for the rest of the episode. But the real deal comes with Marge. The real deal comes when Boss talks to Marge, and Boss says, "Hey, Mom, I'm really sorry." And Marge just says, "As dead as you can be." Just jerk off in the face, he says, "I know you are." Because we all know that. We all know that tone of voice from our mom that means get out of my sight or you're not, I'll physically remove you from my sight. So we all know that tone of voice. And Bob's kind of apologetic. You can say he's only apologetic because he got found out. And maybe he is at first. But this is what I really love about the episode. Bart asks his mom what he can do. And Marge says, "I don't know. Why don't you go to bed?" Because I love that line read because it just sounds like she's so tired and so and so out of it. She can't believe. She still can't believe. Even if she saw it and heard it, she still can't believe that this has happened, that Maud would do something like that. I mean, she knows Maud's no saint, she knows Maud's not perfect, but she thought she knew him. She thought she knew him better than that. So he goes up to the room, and Easter gives him a little bit of talking to. When Maud kind of thinks he's off the hook, Maud says, "Hey, I thought Mom was gonna scream me too, but she didn't even raise a voice." And Issa gives him a little bit of reality check. Side note, I love Issa in these classic episodes. She's way better than she would end up being in the new episode, but that's neither here nor there. I love her in the classic episodes. They just really cute and just wise beyond our years. But she gives him a dose of reality. She says, "Hey, I may not have known Mom. I may not have known Mom for as long as you have, being that she's 2 years younger. But I know when she's really upset. She's not just gonna forget about this, basically. I mean, she's gonna hold on to this. I mean, it's not just gonna go away just because he didn't yell at you, 'cause there are worse things than that." And Maud gets a little nervous here. He asks her if this will be one of the times she remembers. To which he just shrugs, and this is the way it gets into the real meat of the episode. See, early on, like most 10-year-old boys with their mom, early on, Maud didn't want to be so mothered. he didn't want to be, in his word, treated like a baby. And from his point of view, he didn't want to be, he didn't want his mother's yam yuck. But he, their bedtime ritual is, I'm, I'm really bad at this, I'm sorry. But he goes for their bedtime ritual, which Maud always tucks them in, like mothers do with young children. Um, but Maud just yokes in his room and she said good night. She doesn't do that. And that's where Maud starts to get all nervous. Now, here's where some of my issue comes in with people saying, oh, it's an episode about what would happen if your mom stopped loving you. I don't think it is. In the next scene, we hear Marge telling Homer, I thought I knew him. I thought I understood him, but somewhere along the way, his hand slipped away from mine. Maybe I mothered him too much. It's not that they're looking at what would happen if your mom stopped loving you. Marge is trying to give Bart his space because he probably thinks, well, if he's old enough to steal stuff, he probably really doesn't need me anymore. I mean, maybe I coddle him too much. Maybe he just doesn't need me as much as I thought he did, as much as I would like him to. And this is where Bart kind of spirals. His mom doesn't wake him up like she normally does. She doesn't make his cocoa like she normally does. She basically says, hey, you're old enough. I thought you were old enough. I figured you were old enough to do it yourself now. That you didn't need me to do those things to you anymore. And Maud kind of timidly says, well, yeah, that's right. But Maud kind of spirals in its way of thinking that his mom really doesn't love him anymore, that maybe he's gone too far this time, maybe he's upset her. And no doubt she was upset. No doubt she's upset at him stealing stuff. I mean, no parents want their kid to do that. But she didn't take away her love from him, because there's no stronger love than between a mother and a child. She just tried to give him a space like he wanted. But ultimately he realizes that, hey, I do need her. I do need that validation. I do need that love, even if it's just for a moment, and even if it's just a little bit of it. I do need that validation, that assurance that she's there. So he sort of spirals. He's looking for love and validation and acceptance. Meanwhile, it seemed like to him that Marge is completely shut him out. Which that's debatable. Maybe she has, maybe she hasn't. I don't think she did. Yeah, if he really needed her, I think she'd be there. But in these little things, in these minute things, which are big things to him, she wasn't there for him. And he ultimately convinced himself that she took her love away from him. So ultimately what he does to make up for it is he goes to the giant safe. We don't see it, but supposedly he apologizes to the security guard. He maybe apologizes to some other people in the store, which is good, but we don't see that, but we can assume that happened. He gets another picture made. And he comes home, and this is really a underrated and great part of the episode. He comes home, and Moss says, "Oh, you're home. You can help me frost the cookies or something." She said that, and that right there is all you need to know that she hasn't taken her love away from him. She may have been a little disappointed. She may still be disappointed. But that right there to me says that she never stopped loving him. She was trying to process what happened. She was trying to give him his faith that he wanted. But she didn't stop loving him. And ultimately, there's this good heartfelt moment. It's a, it's a bit of a tense moment, even though we pretty much know what's going to happen because we followed Boss up to that point. It's a bit of a tense moment for Marge because Boss hiding something from her again. And she thinks he he's done something, which is not an invalid argument. He's done it before. She knows he's capable of it. But ultimately, it's revealed. He wanted to surprise us for Christmas, but ultimately, it's revealed that the picture and everything, the picture that he took, and there's this big heartfelt moment where Marge embraces him and peppers him with kisses and everything, and tells him she loves him, and that's the best Christmas present she could have ever gotten. It was probably the best Christmas present he could have ever gotten too. I mean, it's his mother's love. I mean, it's funny. This episode started with him wanting something more than anything, but in the end, he realized what's really important. And Moss says in the end, in the final few minutes of the episode, he says, "Since I got my personal E, I figured you should get your personal E too." And this is a really good moment because it really teaches you something about bad behavior and all that stuff. So, she builds up the moment. She says, "Now I know you really like video games, and I asked the clerk what game is the game every boy wants." And originally he's really psyched. He's really pumped about it because he thinks he knows what he got her. And we think we know what they got her too. What they got him, I mean. We think we know that too. But he opened the present, and it's Carval's putting challenge. Now I don't know if that's a real game or not. I would say that it's a spoof of other golfing games, but why I love that scene is he's not vindicated. He he doesn't get the game he wanted. He gets a he called its putting challenge, a game so lame that it's piled stack upon stack at the GameStop because no one wants it. I mean, and you can see he's a little disappointed when he sees it, but then he looks at his mom's face, he looks at a gentle smile, he sees the love in her eyes again. He just tugs her and says, "Hey, thanks, Mom. You were completely right. Every boy does want this. I mean, thanks for the present." And yeah, I gotta say, I really like that because he's not rewarded for his bad behavior. We think he's gonna be rewarded by the way with how the episode builds the scene up, but he's not rewarded for bad behavior, and that's a good lesson to learn. If the people in your life who love you, who truly love you, will never leave you because of bad accident or a bad thing that you did. Now, I'm not saying that'll never happen, because if you do something really, really, really bad, yeah, like murder someone or maybe cheat on someone, maybe then they'll leave you because they sense they're not getting the same love out of the relationship that they give to you. But I'm getting it off track here. The people who really love you, and yes, you did something really, really bad and deplorable, aren't going to leave you. But also, there are consequences for any negative action that you take. And I didn't mean for this to get all philosophical, I'm sorry. But I'm a past on my off time, so. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the episode because I really love it. I think it's one of the best Christmas episodes out there. Not just one of the best Simpsons episodes, but one of the best Christmas episodes out there. I mean, I really like it. And if you haven't seen it, which if you're a Simpsons fan, I don't know why you wouldn't have seen it by now. But if for some reason you haven't seen it, I encourage you to look it up. It's really good and it's really beautiful. And it, along with some other things, reminds us of what's really important around Christmas time. Merry Christmas, y'all. God bless you and have a good night.